If you guys saw this video here, then you will know that I got this guitar recently. And this guitar honestly has to be one of my favorite Epiphones I've ever played. This right here is the 2008 custom shop Epiphone slash model. And this one in particular is the Victoria colorway. I guess the story of the Victoria gold top is Slash had a gold top back in the day in which it was stolen, and later he ended up getting the guitar back and he found out the guitar was stolen from a woman named Victoria. And thus, the Victoria guitar was born. But like I said, this happens to be one of the best Epiphones I've ever played. So let's hop into the video. Well, you might be thinking to yourself, this pretty much just looks just like a normal gold top, in which you would be mistaken. The Epiphone gold on these guitars is actually quite a bit different than the normal Gibson gold. Let's compare. This right here is a Gibson 50 standard, while this one here is the Epiphone slash signature. And as you can see, the golds are quite a bit different. The slash signature here definitely has a bit more yellow to the gold, while this one is definitely a little bit more red. Both guitars have a beautiful shade of gold, definitely are both a little bit sparkly. However, both of them are very gorgeous, and it kind of depends on which one you like better. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Gibson Gold here, but it's personal preference. So what are the similarities these two guitars have in common? Well, for one, their neck shape is pretty similar. Both of them have very thick 50s style necks. Though the slash one here has like its own like slash, personal taste to the neck shape, they feel very similar. This one is definitely, the 50 standard is definitely a little bit thicker than this one. Both are very thick, and if you pick up either one, you could tell it's attempting to be a 50 style neck. So what makes this guitar anything different than just a normal Les Paul? I mean, at first glance, it's got a mahogany neck, mahogany body, a maple top, and a solid top finish. And there's a few things that Epiphone and Slash work together on to make it his own guitar. For one, he has his pickups in here. These are not the Slash Bucker pickups. These were used before those pickups came out, since this is the first run of any signature from Slash. What's in this guitar are the Seymour Duncan El Nico Pros, and I really like these pickups. In the video in which I got this guitar, I talked about how they had the Slash Bucker pickups. However, that isn't correct. They do not have that. They had the Seymour Duncans. But just a different set of pickups. What else makes it special? Well, with this guitar, you got a lot of really cool case candy whenever you bought it new in 2008. You got a custom Slash case, you got custom Slash picks, you got a cool leather strap, and also the certificate of authenticity. However, when I got this guitar, none of that came with it. I got this guitar used on Facebook Marketplace for a trade, and none of that gear unfortunately came with it. The guy just didn't have it. So that definitely sucks, and that definitely takes down the resale value of this guitar whenever I do decide to sell it. But if you're able to find one of these guitars on Reverb with all of the stuff, it's definitely a good pickup. These retailed for $1,500 new, which for an Epiphone, especially back then, was very expensive. But these aren't like the new Slash signature models, where they're just kind of pumping them out new ones. These were very limited. So these 2008 ones still kind of retain a good amount of that value. No, you can't really get $1,500 for them, but you can get about $1,000 out of one of these guitars used, which is really good for an Epiphone. Another thing that makes this Epiphone unique is that it has a long neck tenon. That really gives this guitar a lot of value, especially to Gibson enthusiasts in particular, because it's not very common to have. It is, at least on paper, a better spec to have, and especially on something like an Epiphone, they usually don't take the time to do that kind of thing. So it is really cool that this guitar has a long neck tenon. If you don't know what that means, it basically just means the bottom of the neck kind of goes into the body a bit further, kind of ends up about here in the pickup cavity, as opposed to, closer to here. I don't really think you'd be able to notice the difference between a short and a long neck tenon if you don't know what it looks like, so I don't think it matters that much. But to enthusiasts and collectors, it does matter a lot. But is this guitar too good to be true? Come on, there has to be some downsides, and there are. And for one, the electronics in this guitar, excluding the pickups, are pretty cheap. They're about in line with whatever Epiphone was using at that time. While the new ones, however, have the orange drop capacitors and the CTS pots that are definitely a lot more high quality, definitely the ones that, something more Gibson quality range, while the one in 2008 from this Epiphone range, the electronics aren't cutting it. The pots definitely feel a little scratchy, not great. There's no push-pull function, which is fine. It kind of jumps to the next volume rather than slowly going into it, which isn't a great quality. However, that's a very easy fix. It's not difficult to throw in a different set of pots in there. This is already a really great guitar for the value, so just upgrading that one component that's not great about this guitar will really make it a much more enjoyable guitar to play, on top of what it already is. Another little touch that I really like about this guitar for a convenience factor is that they have the locking bridge and tailpiece here. That way, whenever you're changing strings and you cut all the strings off, there's no tension, the bridge doesn't just fall off and damage your body. They have these little pins in here that lock onto the posts here, that way that doesn't fall off. I think it's just really convenient to have because it makes restringing a bit easier because you don't have to hold it in place to pull the first string through. Even then, it's not that big of a deal. It's just nice to have. And I really do think it's sad that not many people talk about these guitars because they're fantastic for the value. And I'll put it next to my 2014 Epiphone Traditional Pro, and these guitars are miles apart. This guitar plays so much better than that one, and it feels like a Gibson. It really does not feel like an Epiphone. Sure, it doesn't have the fret nibs of a Gibson, but if it did, I was blindfolded, I would not be able to tell this is an Epiphone. And speaking of the fret nibs, they feel very, very soft. They're definitely not sharp at all like a lot of cheaper Epiphones are. So it is a really big shame that this guitar isn't more popular than what it is. It sounds fantastic, it plays very well, it looks really cool. It sucks. This is such a rad guitar that no one talks about. This guitar is worth its value and so much more. But hey, how does it sound? Let's hop into the sound demo. How do you guys think this guitar sounds? I think this guitar sounds great, and as I said before, it sounds and plays amazingly for the money. For around $1,000 on Reverb, you really can't get many guitars that are better than this. For something that plays like a Gibson without that Gibson used price tag, you really can't beat it. But is this guitar going to stay in my personal collection? I don't think so. Now yeah, I talked a lot of praise about this guitar, and I mean every bit of it. However, I do have guitars that are objectively better than this one. I'm trying to upgrade my collection, guitar by guitar, and unfortunately, this one just doesn't really fit the mold of what I'm looking to own. So this guitar will be for sale on Reverb, and if you guys just want to shoot me a DM on my Instagram, make me an offer, my Instagram will be right there. Just message me and I'll get back to you and we'll talk out a deal through there. If you guys are interested in this guitar, just feel free to shoot me an offer. It'll probably be easier than Reverb doing it that way, but just shoot me a message if you guys are interested. But in conclusion, this is probably the best Epiphone I've ever played in my life. The neck is very comfortable. I love these pickups. It plays so nicely. It sounds fantastic. This is a great guitar. Yeah, the pots don't feel like great and they're kind of scratchy and they don't work super well, but that's such an easy upgrade. Why not just do it? That's really my only gripe about this guitar. And also, this guitar is just beautiful. It's got that dark back with a little bit of flame figuring. It's not flame, but it's got a little dancing in the wood. The neck, I love the mahogany piece they used for this. They got these kind of limeish green Kluson style tuners. But anyways, I think that just about wraps it up for this video. If you guys like this guitar or liked this video, feel free to click like. And if you loved it and you want to see more content from me, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.